My client was not. Look, let's talk candidly. The guy's wearing a fur. He's a shaman. He has horns on. He practices yoga, meditates all day long. Couldn't be a more gentle, soft-spoken human being. He's not a violent man. He's not alone. And what we as a nation have to understand is our president needs to be accountable for that. And the only honorable thing for him to do, for those who were peace-loving, for those who did go there with peace in mind, that weren't going there to be violent, Trump needs to stand up and own these people. He owes them an obligation. He has an obligation to them. He has an obligation to our nation.
And do what?
It's not going to happen.
And do what, Al?
Oh, wait, give a pardon. Give a pardon to the.
You want him to pardon the people that broke in to the Capitol and killed a policeman and was trying to get to members of Congress?
Remember the following. What am I? I'm not. My role is not to judge somebody. My role is to be an advocate. If there's one iota of a chance that the guy who's the president of our country, who invited everybody down Pennsylvania, will give my client a pardon, you know what? I'm going to do it.
All right, that's the attorney for Jacob Chansley, the QAnon shaman. You'll recognize him with his horns and his outfit there. The questions for our 13th juror today is, what do we do? What should be done to the nonviolent people that breached the Capitol, went into the Capitol? First comment of the day comes in from Gimli. They should absolutely face charges. They had no business busting in there with the rest of the creeps. No bloody way. And if at their ages, if they don't know the difference between right and wrong, well, maybe it's past time that they learned. Candace, what say you?
Well, you don't have to be violent in order to break the law, right? So just because he wasn't hacking the door down, because his mother did an interview earlier this week that said, hey, he just walked right in, as if because he walked in, there was no problem. But the problem was that he ultimately broke the law, and that's the issue here. It doesn't matter that he just walked right in without a problem. He knew what was happening. He was in the chat rooms. He had to know how to get there. He was there. He made that decision. He should be held responsible.
D says the same thing that happened to all those violent protesters after the George Floyd's death. Absolutely nothing. Brian?
She's right. We got to be fair. It goes both ways. This is not unusual where you have people going into government offices and doing sit-ins and protest. And so we have to treat these nonviolent protesters as just that, nonviolent protesters that went into a government office and occupied it and sat in. This is not the first time it happens. Protesters do it all the time. There's no reason why these people should be treated any different.
James says, if I had a cause and I was protesting for that cause, the minute I saw anyone doing anything questionable, dangerous to others, or obviously illegal, I'd remove myself as fast as possible from the scene. Whoosh! I want no part of any of that, and he shouldn't have stayed. Michael Cardoza, shouldn't he have gotten the uh-oh feeling when he was standing there at the dais with his headdress? He knew he was doing something wrong.
From everything I've read, he's got mental disabilities. He's a drug user. He's got real issues. But this is what the president engendered by doing what he did. The Capitol is the gateway to our democracy, to our republic. It's not like you were trespassing into a park or a house. This is the seat of our government. Each and every one of them, whether violent or not, should be prosecuted and should be punished.
All right. Keebler, Holly says, he had no authority to be in the Capitol building. He entered illegally and should be punished to the full extent of the law. He can eat all of the organic food that he wishes, courtesy of the federal prison system. He is a vegan, apparently, and is having trouble actually being incarcerated because he doesn't like the food. Candace, what do you think? You throw the book at him and everybody else? What about maybe not him, but the other person that just happened to get swept into the crowd and found themselves in the Capitol?
Well, if you find yourself in the Capitol and you see that something is awry, then you have to say goodbye. If there are people who did not make that decision and decided to stay just to see what was going on, well, then shame on them for not having the ability to make the right decision. So, and it's interesting that he's complaining about this organic food. He said, he's not going to be able to eat anything except for this organic food. All of it is just like something out of the comic book that he looked like.
Orange says, let him go. Cops did. Good point, huh? Brian, the police didn't. They were a little bit overwhelmed, though, at the time, weren't they, to make arrests?
Well, it's the same situation we see in every protest / gets out of hand, call it a riot, call it a protest. It's the same, and I really don't have a problem with this taking their protest to the Capitol, to the government officials that can do something, rather than burning down an individual store that really had nothing to do with the situation, has no ability to change the situation. You take it out on an innocent shop owner. So I like it when they take it to the government themselves. They have a problem with the government, tell the government.
All right, our final comment. We're going to give it to Ruth Murphy. Ruthie says he's not convicted and sentenced. Trump will be done by then. We'll leave it at that. Ruth gets the last word here. I want to thank everybody on the think tank. Candace Kelly, media law professor from Rowan University. I've never taken one of your classes, Candace, but I could tell you'd be a great law professor. Brian Watkins, I have seen you at work in the courtroom, and you are absolutely, bar none, fantastic. And Michael Cardoza, I've seen you at work as well many times in Northern California courtrooms, both class acts, all three of you. Thank you for your time. Thank you on this weekend, this holiday weekend, and thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend. This is Court TV, your front row seat to justice.